There's a photograph that sold for $2.3 million, a small tin plate no bigger than a playing card showing a young man with a Winchester rifle and a pistol on his hip. For most of a century, everyone who looked at it agreed on one thing. Billy the Kid wore his gun on the left. He was the left-handed gun. Hollywood even built a movie around it, Paul Newman, 1958, The Left-Handed Gun. There was just one problem. Every Winchester Model 1873 ever made loads on the right side. And in that photograph, the loading gate is on the left. The picture is reversed. A mirror image. Billy the Kid was right-handed all along, and the proof was sitting in his own hands the whole time. The gun told the truth the legend got wrong. That's what this is about. Because the gun a man is famous for is usually not the gun he'd actually keep. And what these legends would keep, if they could keep only one, tells you more about who they were than any story ever did. We're going to walk it from the old days to right now, 150 years. And it ends with a man who is still proving the point on camera today. As for Billy, asked what he trusted, he didn't name the pistol. "If I only had my Winchester," he said, "I'd lick the whole crowd." The rifle. Hold on to that. It comes back. Start with the most famous gunfighter who ever lived, Wild Bill Hickok. Picture him and you picture a Colt Peacemaker on each hip. You picture wrong. Hickok carried a pair of Colt Navy revolvers, the 1851 model, 36 caliber cap and ball, black powder and a round lead ball, with about the punch of a modern .380. And here's the part that matters. He kept carrying them long after the cartridge Peacemaker came along and made them old-fashioned. The fastest, deadliest man on the plains had every reason to upgrade. He didn't. He had learned those guns. They balanced in his hand like nothing else made. When Davis Tutt faced him across a town square and emptied a pistol at him, Hickok took his time, leveled one Navy, and dropped him at 75 yards. The famous gun sells the legend. The gun he trusted tells you who he was. Hickok chose what he knew over what was new. His friend Doc Holliday is the same story. Ask anyone what Doc carried, and they'll say the sawed-off shotgun from the OK Corral. But that shotgun wasn't even his. Virgil Earp handed it to him on the way to the fight, a borrowed coach gun from the Wells Fargo office. Doc fired it once, by his own account threw it down in disgust, and reached for the gun he actually loved, a nickel-plated double-action Colt, the model of 1877. That was his weapon for years. The shotgun was a loan he never wanted. And while we're standing in Tombstone, a word about Doc's friend Wyatt Earp, and the most famous gun that never existed. You've heard of the Buntline Special, the Colt with the foot-long barrel, supposedly a gift to Earp from a dime novelist. It's a wonderful story. A writer named Stuart Lake put it in a book in 1931, 2 years after Earp was dead and could no longer argue. There is no record of that gun before that book. Most historians believe Lake invented it, but here's the part worth sitting with. Decades later, Colt began manufacturing Buntline Special revolvers and selling them. And the television show you grew up watching put one in Earp's hand every single week. A myth turned into a product, turned into history. That is how this works. Somebody always profits from the legend. Bat Masterson didn't leave his to chance. He wrote to the Colt factory and ordered his revolvers built to his own specification, nickel finish, the barrel cut to 4 3/4 inches, the grip the way his hand liked it. Those order letters still exist, no myth to untangle here. A man who lived by the gun told the maker exactly what his one gun should be and signed his name to it. Not every great shot was a gunfighter. Annie Oakley never killed a man. She was the finest exhibition shooter of her age, the star of Buffalo Bill's Wild West, able to shatter a playing card turned edge on or clip a dime tossed in the air. And her tools were not hand cannons. They were fine, light, small-bore rifles and shotguns fitted to her, balanced for speed and precision. The greatest accuracy of the whole era came out of the smallest, simplest guns in the show. Now, not everyone in this story chose restraint. The gangsters who came later chased firepower. Thompson submachine guns, Browning rifles stolen out of armories. And most of them died young, clutching all of it. The men and women who lasted, who earned a place in history, almost always chose the other way. They chose less and trusted it more. And nobody proved that harder than the snipers. Simoheha is the deadliest sniper who ever lived. Finland, the Winter War, 1939 into 40, in cold that froze the breath in a man's throat. And the most lethal marksman in history refused a telescopic sight. He shot with iron sights on a plain Finnish rifle, partly because a scope's glass can catch the sun and give a sniper's position away, partly because iron sights let him keep his head down and his profile small. The man who outshot everyone trusted less equipment, not more. A generation later in Vietnam, Carlos Hathcock became a legend with a rifle most deer hunters would know on sight, a Winchester Model 70 in .30-06. A good bolt action and a good scope, no magic in the steel. The magic was the man. Both of these snipers could have had anything they asked for. They picked the simple, proven thing and mastered it completely. Subscribe and stay with me, because the name's coming up next. You didn't just hear about these men, you read them. Every month, for years, in the magazines on your nightstand. One of them got called a liar for 30 years. And the man at the very end of this video is the one who finally proved he was telling the truth. If you came up reading gun magazines, these next three are family. Start with Elmer Keith, an Idaho rancher in a big hat with a bigger cigar, and the most stubborn big-bore man who ever lived. Keith didn't just choose a gun. He willed 3 cartridges into the world. The .357 Magnum in 1935, the .44 Magnum in 1956, the .41 in '64. His one gun was the big Smith & Wesson .44 he had fought to bring into existence. And Keith is also where this video keeps its promise to be honest with you, because Keith claimed in print that he once put down a wounded mule deer at 600 yards with a revolver. People called him a liar for the rest of his life. Here is the honest version. Another hunter had already wounded that buck, and Keith did not make it in one shot. He walked his rounds in and hit it twice out of several tries to keep it from suffering off over the ridge. Not a miracle, but not a lie either. I wrote it up as it happened, Keith said, and I've been called a liar ever since. His great rival was Jack O'Connor, the voice of outdoor life, and the apostle of the exact opposite gun. Where Keith preached big and heavy and slow, O'Connor preached light and fast and flat. The .270 Winchester, a deer rifle that shot like it was on a wire. Keith versus O'Connor ran in print for decades, and it ran at your own deer camp, around your own fire. Big bore or fast bore. The truth that neither side wanted to admit is that they were both right, for different country, for different game. The argument was never really settled, it just got handed down. Then there is Jeff Cooper, the man who taught a generation how to fight with a pistol and whose gospel was the 1911 in .45. To Cooper, the .45 was the fighting handgun. Case closed. And then even Cooper went looking for more. He helped father a hotter round, the 10mm, to improve on the very gun he had spent his life defending. It is the oldest pattern in this whole story. The champion of the proven thing reaches for the next thing, and the proven thing outlives the experiment. The 1911 is still here. It buried its own replacement. Which brings us, at last, to today, and to a name you should know, even if you don't. But first, a man you might not. Ed McGivern. Back in the 1930s, McGivern fired 5 shots from a revolver in under half a second, a group you could cover with one hand. Nobody believed it until the cameras proved it. He had the fastest hands of his age. The fastest hands of our age belong to Jerry Miculek. World records with everything from a 9mm to a 50 caliber Barrett. And a few years ago, somebody asked Jerry Miculek the exact question this whole video is built on. If you could keep only one gun for the rest of your life, what would it be? The greatest living shooter did not reach for some exotic race gun. He picked an 8-shot Smith & Wesson revolver, the 627, chambered in .357 Magnum, Elmer Keith's cartridge, and his reason was 3 words long: simple always works. And remember Keith's 600-yard shot, the one that got him branded a liar for 30 years. In our own lifetime, long-range revolver shooting became a real sport. And Jerry Miculek put a bullet on a balloon at 1,000 yards with a Smith & Wesson revolver. The old man wasn't lying. He was just 50 years early. So who wins? Nobody. That was never the point. Look at what actually happened across 150 years. Hickok kept a cap-and-ball pistol into the cartridge age. Hayha refused a scope. Hathcock trusted a plain bolt rifle. Keith and Miculek, 2 lifetimes apart, both reached for the wheel gun the world kept calling obsolete, and both for the very same reason. Not the loudest gun, not the newest gun. The simple, proven, personal one, the one that had earned its place. The famous gun sold the legend. The gun they would keep revealed the man. And nearly every one of them, when it came down to a single choice, chose the thing they trusted over the thing that was new. So here is my question for you, and I mean it. What did you grow up with? If you could keep only one gun for the rest of your life, what would it be? The one your father carried, the one that has earned its place in your safe? Tell me down in the comments. I read them. And if you'd like more stories told like this one, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next.